Virat Rupa. What does Virat mean? Mataji is the name of the Indian cricketer, Mataji. What does Virat mean? Huh? What does it mean?
Massive, huge.
Huge. Yeah, Virat is like huge, inconceivable. Zero can't possibly fathom. That is what Virat means. Yeah. So, and form is Rupa. So the universal form is Virat Rupa. Okay, we're almost done. Sweet. So, yes. Oops. Sorry. Share screen. Sorry, just give me 1 minute. Every time you set up Zoom on a new computer, it takes a while to make sure things are running as before. Okay, in the meantime, so one thing Vishnupriya Mataji and I are going to do is any 1 week, we'll be doing a spot quiz for all the stuff that you have covered so far. So this is a good reminder for all of you to regularly keep revising all the things that we are covering. That's why every class we begin by revising the last chapter also. Okay, so I'm telling you all ahead of time. So later on you don't say, Mataji, you never told us. Portion of screen. Yes, finally. Okay, perfect. Technology, we can figure it out. Okay, so today we're starting chapter 11. I'm very happy to see you all, and if possible, please turn on your cameras. So as Nanda said, as Samarth and Ashrit and everyone else explained, the name of the chapter is the universal form. So in the last few chapters, we've learned a lot about the opulence of Krishna, right? So he talks about how he's the one responsible for the creation and the devastation of all the universes, how everything is in him, how he pervades the entire universe. So now Arjun, he's heard all this, right? So he's heard from Krishna, and Krishna, who's his friend, he's heard from Krishna that, I am the supreme personality and I am the one who's sustaining all of manifestation, all of creation. And as we just saw in 10, 12, 13, 10, 12, 13, and 14 verses, Arjun also says that, yes, I accept you as a supreme Lord. Everything that you're saying is completely true. And that's why you are accepted by all the great rishis, all the great sages as the one supreme Lord. So now that Krishna, his friend, has talked to him about his opulences, Arjuna in this chapter says that, Krishna, I want to see that form of yours. So you say that everything is in you and you pervade the entire universe. I want to see that form. And that form is the universal form of the Lord. So we'll see a lot of images in the slides here. And a lot of these images are paintings that were done by Srila Prabhupada's disciples based on his description of what this universal form, what parts of this universal form could look like. Avi, stop picking your nose. Of what parts of this universal form could look like. Okay, so obviously, if only we had the perfect photograph of Krishna in that universal form, but in this one, Krishna also explains how difficult and how rare it is for someone to even see this universal form. Okay, so these are all paintings that were done by devotees who were blessed by and under the guidance of Srila Prabhupada on what different parts or different manifestations of that universal form could look like. So we'll pay special attention to the images. And if you want me to zoom in at any point on any of the images, we can do that as well. So we can see them from up close. So a few things in this chapter. Let's move on to the next slide and we'll go from there. So this chapter is broken down into 4 parts. In the beginning, as I told you, right, Arjun is requesting Krishna, where he's saying, Krishna, I want to see that universal form of yours. If only you think that, I can behold it. And if only you want, but I have a wish. And so Krishna, because Arjun is his dear devotee, Krishna shows his universal form. And then there's about 25 verses or so, which is describing Krishna's universal form. And it's so difficult and like so wondrous and so fearful to behold that Arjun immediately offers his prayers. So he goes on and describes everything that he's seeing, and because of his descriptions, his dialogues, we're getting to understand and hear what that universal form could look like. So thanks to Arjuna, we are getting to, by transitiveness, we are also getting to understand what the universal form could look like, because we don't have the ability or the qualification to see that universal form ourselves just yet. So there's about 25 verses or so when we're learning more about this universal form. Then Arjuna asks Krishna a couple of questions, and then Krishna reciprocates, responds to them. And then towards the end, Arjun says, okay, I this is too much for me to handle. I want to see you like normal, I want to see you like normal Krishna. This is too much for me to handle. And then Krishna shows him his 4 arms Narayan form, and then comes back to his normal two-handed Shamsundar form. So towards the end, so that's why if you see the last section, right, qualification to see Krishna's original form. One very important thing, actually 2 main things that we learn in this chapter. The first one is that, Krishna's tu Bhagwan Swayam. Krishna is the source of all of these forms, all of these incarnations, right? So it's not like universal form is the permanent form and Krishna is how he appears when he comes to this material world. No. Or that Vishnu is the supreme form and then Krishna is how he appears. No. This chapter basically proves or shows that Krishna is the original form. And the universal form or these other forms are either temporary or incarnations or forms that are emanating from Krishna himself. Right? So when a lot of people say that, oh, it's not like this, the Supreme Lord looks like this, or the Supreme Lord is not a person, the 11th chapter is usually used for refutation that no, Krishna is the Supreme Person. Okay, so that is one very important thing in this chapter. The second very important thing in this chapter is learning about what the qualification to see Krishna's two-armed form is. So Krishna, he says very clearly that even for someone to see my universal form is very rare. But to see my two-armed form is the rarest of the rare. So we also learn about the qualification to see Krishna in his original form. Okay, so this 11th chapter is going to be encompassing all of these things. So let's begin. First section, Arjuna's request. Can someone read this? Can someone read this? Yes, Manas.
Arjuna's request. Arjuna requests Krishna to show him the all-pervading universal form. 1 to 4. Lord Krishna first describes his universal form, then bestows upon Arjuna the vision necessary to see it. I do it.
Yes, there's 8 verses. In the first 4 verses, Arjuna is requesting Krishna to show that all-pervading form. And in the next 4 verses, Krishna is first describing what that form encompasses, and then he bestows to Arjuna the necessary vision to see it. So we learn more about what this necessary vision is. Okay? So in the first 4 verses, what is Arjuna saying? Manas, can you continue reading this as well?
Arjuna requests Krishna to show him the all-pervading universal form. My illusion has been dispelled. I realize your glories. I desire to see your universal form by which you enter and support this universe. If you think I can behold.
Very good. What does the first one mean? What illusion has been dispelled? What is the illusion that Arjuna had that has been dispelled? No one knows?
Dispel is something disappeared. Something he was thinking this is the thing, but it disappeared. He understood that is not the right thing. So because of the Krishna's teaching, right? So what he understood, what is the illusion that he was thinking, and that dispelled, that disappeared.
Mataji, is it lamentation?
Lamentation is not illusion. What exactly is lamented about?
Yeah, Jyotika, why was he lamenting?
Mataji, because he is killing his own people.
And why is he not lamenting that anymore?
It's because Krishna, Lord Krishna, he told the truth and yeah. Mataji.
Okay, so I want all of you, I think you all understand the answer, but I want you all to get good at See, at the end of the day, as we learn more Bhagavad, as we study more Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says towards the end that, the dearmost of devotees are the ones who are preachers, who are preaching my glories to others. So, as you all study Bhagavad Gita, as you all learn verses, learn bhajans, you should all aim to become very good preachers. So, if someone questions you about Krishna, you should be able to tell about him, right? When you deeply love someone, you should be able to answer questions about them as well, right? So in this case, the illusion or the misunderstanding that Arjuna had was about his identity, right? It was about his identity, about Krishna's position, about his eternal relationship with Krishna, all of the things that Krishna has talked about in the past 10 chapters or so. So Arjun, and remember in the last chapter, Arjun just says, now my illusion is dispelled. Now I understand Sarvam Etadritam Manye. Now I understand everything that you're saying is a complete truth, right? So now my illusion is dispelled. So now I understand my position, I understand your position, I understand how you sustain the entire universe, all manifestation. So he's saying now my illusion, my misunderstanding about who I am, about you, my relationship, my duty, all of that is dispelled. And I've realized your glories, Krishna. The universal form, the all-pervading universal form you've been talking about, I desire to see it, but only if you think I can behold it. So see, Arjun, who's a great devotee of the Lord, he also understands that if there is a form that pervades the entire universe, if someone says, okay, I'm going to present the entire universe in front of you, will you be able to see it? No, right? So he's saying, I want to see that form, but only if you think that I can actually see it. So see here, Arjun is not ordering Krishna. Krishna, I know you're my friend, and you just said you're so powerful, so I want to see your power. You show me your power right now. No. He's saying, I want to see that form, but only if you think I can handle it. So he's requesting Krishna, not ordering Krishna. So when we have when we go to temple, we say, I'm offering all these things to you. You have to make sure I get good marks in exams. That's not how it works, right? You have to request Krishna that Krishna, you whatever is good for me, you do that. It's not like I know what is good for me. I don't know what is good for me. You are my father. You know what's best for me. So you do what you want to do. So in this case, he's saying, I intend to see your universal form, but it's your wish if you think I can manage it. So, question for you all. Why does Arjun want to see the universal form? Because he doesn't trust Krishna, is it? Krishna is just my friend. He's saying he pervades the entire universe. So how do I know? I should get him to prove it. Yes, Chetna.
See, Arjuna is a devotee of Lord Krishna, so he must already know that whatever Krishna is saying is true.
Yes.
But Mataji, I think that he's requesting Krishna to show his universal form, so that the future generations can know.
Yes, very good, Chetna. Yes, very, very good. So two reasons he's doing that is, first, as you rightly said, he wants to prove without doubt that Krishna is the supreme person, right? He wants to establish without that doubt that Krishna's position is the supreme and he's the source of everything. So in the future, readers of Bhagavad Gita are not like, oh, Arjun was so a stupid person. He just, believe whatever Krishna said. I'm not someone who will just believe it like this. I'm more critical than that. So first is he wants to prove without doubt what Krishna's position is, and second, he also wants to set a standard for anyone in the future who says I am Bhagwan and I am the supreme person. Right, and I'm sure a lot of you've seen there's so many pseudo gods roaming around right now. There's so many people who claim to be incarnations of the Supreme Lord. So he wants to set this standard where he's saying, okay, sure, if you're Krishna himself, if you're the Supreme Lord, then you should be able to see, then you should be able to show the universal form just like Krishna did as well. So, who is the other incarnation of Krishna who also shows that universal form? Can someone answer? Anyone wants to try? Does anyone? Okay, does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ever show his universal form? I hear Mataji, but I don't hear anything other than that.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed like the 400 form one.
Yes, he showed the Shadbhuj form as well. Yes, he showed the four-armed form as well. Who did he show the universal form to? So actually, oops. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed his universal form at the home of Srivas Thakur. Okay, so this is maybe a homework for you all. So this is very important for you all to figure out that, if anyone, for all of these people who say, I am Narayan, I am God, they should be able to show their universal form as well, right? And as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also rightly did. So this is a good lesson for you all. As you come across people who say, "Oh, this person that I prayed, he's also like Krishna's roop in Kali Yuga himself," right? So you should be able to quote these verses from the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna very clearly, Krishna very clearly shows his universal form. And as we know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's an incarnation of who's the Supreme Lord himself in Kali Yuga, he also showed his universal form. So Bhagwan himself should be able to show his universal form. So when Arjuna makes these requests, what does Krishna say? Can someone read this?
Mataji, can I read this?
Yes, Avigyan. Go ahead.
Behold my opulences, colors, shapes, and sizes, all wonderful things and beings at one place, even the future, the entire universe in my body. I will give you divine eyes.
Yes. So Krishna is saying that you cannot behold me, a universal form, just with this. You need to have divine eyes. What does divine eyes mean?
Krishna's eyes.
Huh?
Something like Krishna's eyes.
I don't understand what you're saying, Avigyan.
Something
What
like
is divine?
Krishna's eyes. See,
Yes, Anvi.
divine eyes means he is giving the eyes that like he can see the means Krishna's full form.
Yes. So he's saying, I'll give you divine eyes so you can behold my vision. So it is you have to be a devotee anyway to be able to see Krishna's universal form or Krishna himself. You cannot even see him otherwise. But he's saying, Arjun, you will not be able to behold my universal form just like this. Just like if I were to ask you that, right now it's not sunny in Singapore, it's very cloudy. But if I were to ask you and be like, okay, go and look at the sun for 5 minutes straight and just keep looking at the sun. Can you manage that? Can you all manage that? Yes, Mataji can. No, you'll probably need sunglasses or something else, right? You can't just manage because the sun is so effulgent. You can't manage that effulgence with your eyes. It's so bright. You cannot manage that. So Krishna is saying, I'll give you special eyes, and those are divine eyes by which you can actually behold my vision. And you'll learn by. So as much as if we can't even handle one sun, Arjun describes how Krishna's universal form is blazing like thousands and thousands of suns all together. So there's no way we can behold that as normal people. There's no way we can behold that. Even a devotee of Krishna without Krishna's gaze cannot behold that. Okay, so in the first section, Arjuna is requesting Krishna that, now that my illusion is dispelled, I want to see your universal form only if you so accept. And Krishna says, okay, in my universal form, you can see all colors, shapes, sizes, everything is in it, including the future. So Krishna says, in my universal form, you can see the past, the present, and the future. And this is important because Arjuna will see the future in Krishna's universal form. And he says, for this, I'll give you divine eyes. So we move on to the next section, which is the universal form. So we learn about the characteristics of this universal form of the Lord. So one thing that's important to note is that usually pure devotees, they do not want to see Krishna in any form other than Krishna. Right? Pure devotees are people who have unalloyed love for Krishna. So the way you can express your love for someone in a personal setting is very different from expressing their love for someone in a more opulent or wondrous or powerful setting. Right? So like the person you love could very well be the prime minister or the president of like a major country, which is a different position. But you know them in a more informal, in a more friendly way. Right? So devotees of Krishna just want to see him in a two-armed form. They are not interested in the universal form. So as we learned, the reason Arjun asks him is to establish without doubt Krishna's supreme authority. So now let's learn about the universal form. Avigyan, can you read this?
Okay, Mataji. Unlimited faces, hands, and weapons.
planets of gold, jewels, and all other kinds, more radiant than thousands of suns.
Yeah. So on the right is Sanjay describing all this to Dhritarashtra. So because of Arjuna, Sanjay is also able to see this universal form. So he's describing to Dhritarashtra that this form that Krishna just showed has unlimited faces, hands, and weapons, and garlands and ornaments. I'm seeing a lot of planets of gold, jewels, and everything else. And I'm also, the form is more radiant than thousands of suns. Kushal, focus. So it's more radiant than thousands of suns. It's very, very, very bright and very effulgent. So upon seeing this, Arjuna all of a sudden becomes terrified, right? So the hairs at the end of his body are rising. Imagine all of a sudden imagine you're sitting with your friend, and all of a sudden your friend just expands and gets bigger and bigger and bigger and takes over the entire universe. You'll start being scared, right? You'll be like, what is happening all of a sudden? So Arjun becomes terrified, and with astonishment, he's now describing what he's seeing in front of him. So, hair standing on end, Arjuna bows down and begins to pray with folded hands. So, this is an image, this is again one of the paintings done by ISKCON devotees of the Virat Rupa. So, the things he's calling this form of Krishna is that you're immeasurable. I'm seeing all living entities in one place. You're unlimited, you're expanding in all directions, you're blazing like the sun, and the sun and the moon are your eyes. So, these are different things that Arjuna is describing in what he's seeing in this universal form.
Can you go to the previous slide? I want to write down the notes.
Okay, I will be sharing these slides later as well. So you can always write down more words later. Okay, can I ask you a question? What are all of you seeing in this photo? Like, what are things you are seeing in this photograph of the universal form?
Krishna has like 1,000,000 heads or something, like I can't count.
He has?
Like many, many, many heads.
Many, many, many faces, yes.
Then he's got fire around him.
So he's blazing like 1,000 suns, yeah.
Yeah. And then he's got millions of hands.
Yeah. Okay, what is everyone else seeing? Enough from Abhigya. What are all of you seeing? Yes, Nanda.
All the demigods, all the
Yes.
region,
Very
and all
good.
the other form.
Yeah,
Like,
you're seeing there's like little Brahmaji here as well. All the living entities, right? You're seeing all the possible living entities you're seeing there. You're seeing a lot of weapons. Can you also see some of these heads are also emanating fire from their mouths? Can you all see that? Huh?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, so it's important. See, we should be very lucky. We should be very grateful that we have these paintings, right? Because when Prabhupada was first writing these books, right, these paintings were not there. So it was only all in text. So with Prabhupada's blessing, a lot of devotees who were artistically inclined, Prabhupada guided them and blessed them to make these beautiful paintings, which we can now see to visualize, to better understand what some of these forms even mean. Right? So anytime we see these images, we should even looking at these images, trying to understand what's in them is also a form of meditation because we're meditating on Krishna. Right? So we should really pay close attention to all these images. In fact, I've tried to put in as many images of the universal form as I could find, some or the other in these slides. Okay, this is an important verse. So now Arjun is offering prayers to Krishna, right? Imagine if Krishna was to appear in front of you as this Virat Rupa. So remember when Narsimhadev appears and everyone is so terrified of Narsimhadev, and then Prahlad Maharaj offers him prayers and he's pacified. The only way to pacify the Lord, the only way to please the Lord is with our prayers. So Arjun offers these beautiful prayers to Krishna, and this is a very beautiful verse. Can someone read this? No one wants to read things today? Such a quiet class.
I think the tune is little difficult.
Oh. I can help you.
I see Jyotika raised, Chaitanya raised, Prachikta raised, Nanda.
Okay, Chaitanya, go ahead.
Yes, Mataji. Vamaksharam paramam videtagam vamasya visvasya param nidhanam vam avyaya sasvata dharma gupta sanatanasvam purusho Mataji, was the tune right?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Convinced of your supremacy. Translation: You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are the inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of Godhead. This is my opinion.
This is beautiful. Tvam avyayah shashvata dharma gopta. Shashvat dharma. So our dharma is Shashvat dharma or Sanatan dharma. So it's not Hinduism, it's Sanatan dharma, which is eternal religion. And he's saying Shashvat dharma gopta. You're the maintainer of the eternal religion. So let's see if can we zoom in on this photo? So see, this is another painting of the universal form, where similar to the last one we saw, right? So many faces, again blazing fire from the mouths, lotus flower emanating from the navel Lord Brahma here as well. And Arjun is completely awestruck in seeing this form. So in this verse, Arjun is offering his prayers. He's saying, you are the Supreme Lord. You are the basis for everything in this creation. You are the resting place for everything. You're inexhaustible. You're immeasurable. You're the oldest. Everything emanates from you, cause of all causes. And you are the eternal maintainer of the religion for all living entities. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So now that he's seeing this, so as we go through these verses, you see he's observing more and more, he's seeing new things, he's becoming more and more terrified. So in the next verse, this is another version of the Virat Rupa, where see it's a little more terrifying. You're seeing a lot of destruction here. So again, fire emanating from the mouth. Lord Shiva is here. This is destruction happening here. So this is a little more terrifying version. So now Arjun is observing this Virat Roop, which is also called the Kala Rupa. Can someone tell me what Kala means? What is Kala?
Time.
Time. Kala is time. So this form of Krishna is also known as the Kala Rupa, or the form of time. And we'll just learn why. Can someone read this verse? Yes. Who was saying Mataji?
Which one?
Can someone just read the slide?
Mataji, can I?
Yes, Anvi, go ahead.
Arjuna also sees Krishna's frightening and all-destructive Kala Rupa or form of time 11.1931. Blazing fire coming from your mouth spread throughout space. Demigods and sage offering prayers, all devouring, blazing death-like faces and awful teeth. Rasa changes to fear. I'm very fearful, can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of
Equilibrium. Yes, very good, Sanvi.
mind. Please be merciful on me.
Very good. So see, now he's saying that, I'm also, not only am I seeing all these universes, I'm also seeing a lot of very terrible faces and teeth. And from these faces, I see a lot of fire coming out. And I see all these demigods and sages. They're also terrified of you and they're offering you prayers. And this form is all devouring. I see so many living entities going and entering into this form. So, I'm very, very scared. So his rasa, so far Arjun was dealing with Krishna as a friend, right? So it was a Sakhya relationship. And now that rasa or that relationship is changing, but it's a relationship not of the same level of friendliness, but it's a relationship of fear and of wonder. That's why he's offering prayers to Krishna. The mood has changed so much. So he says, Krishna, I'm very, very fearful, and I'm losing the steadiness of my mind. So please be merciful on me. Like this is too much for me to handle, and I'm very, very scared to see this. So in this, remember Krishna said that in my universal form, you'll be able to see everything, past, present, and future. So he also shows Arjuna the future. So Arjuna sees the future outcomes of war, which also indicate his future victory. So in the 26th and 27th verses, we learn that all the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with their allies, and Bhishma, Drona, and Karma, are rushing into the universal's form fearful mouths. Some are trapped with heads smashed between the universal form's teeth. So he's seeing all of these commanders, generals, soldiers, which were around them in the battlefield. He's seeing them sucked in to the universal form, and with their heads smashed, with them completely devoured by this universal form. So all of this is very, very terrifying for him. And this is what the significance of the Kala Rupa is. And the reason Krishna is known as the Kala Rupa, or this universal form is known as the form of time, is because what is one quality of time? What is one quality of time? What is it that time will invariably do?
Mataji will immediately pass.
It'll invariably pass. And what will it do to living entities? What will it do to us?
Will like make us closer to our final test.
What is that? Death, right?
Yes.
So
Mataji.
that's why time is called the instrument of destruction. Right? Invariably, all of us will be devoured by time. All of us. So we all have these material bodies which are temporary, right? So invariably, all of us will be devoured by time. All of our material bodies will be devoured by time. And that's why this form of Krishna is called the Kala Rupa, or the form of time, because it leads to everyone's destruction. Invariably, we'll all be destroyed. Right? Be it devotees or demons, all of us will lose our material bodies, right? What is the difference between Krishna destroying a devotee versus destroying a demon? Eventually, the Pandavas also died, not in the Kurukshetra war, but eventually they also died. So, what was the difference between them being destructed, and what was the difference between the demons being destructed, or the Kauravas being destructed?
Mataji, the devotees, they after they're dead, they just go back to Krishna.
Hmm.
But the demons or Kauravas, they just have rebirth in this material world, Mataji.
So that's not necessarily that they might have rebirth. Some of, like, obviously they might have rebirth. Some of the demons also get liberated, right? So they will not go back to associate with Krishna, but some of them might still get liberation. So all the demons that Krishna personally kills, or everyone who is present on the battlefield of Krishna, they got liberation eventually. They might not associate with Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan unless they were pure devotees of the Lord. But if they were devoured, if they were devoured by Krishna, even if they were a demon, they will get liberated. So that's why Arjun says how there's two ways of getting destructed, and he uses beautiful analogies. The first one is how a river flows into the ocean. How many of you have seen, how rivers always eventually flow into an ocean, right? So they lose their identity once the river merges into the ocean. Is it still a river? No, right? It's lost identity. It's become the ocean. And then the second way you also kill yourself or you lose your identity is just like a moth dashes to destruction in a blazing fire. So you've seen anytime there's a candle, there's a lot bunch of moths that keep flying around, right? So a moth can also get burnt by that fire and lose its life. So these are the two analogies that Arjun uses in describing this form of destruction. Can someone tell me what the difference between these two analogies is? What is the difference between destruction, that is either like a moth getting killed by fire, or a river merging with the ocean?
Mataji, I think for the river merging with the ocean.
Yes, Avigna?
Mataji, I think the analogy means that at the end of the day, we all will go back to Lord Krishna.
Not all of us, only the pure devotees. But yes, that analogy is to represent devotees going back to Krishna. Yes. And what about this one? Moths, blazing fire. Anyone wants to try?
Right, sir?
Yes.
Mataji, I think this means that if like we can also suicide if we get into sense gratification too much.
So that's not exactly what it means. What you're saying is right, but that's not what this analogy represents. Yes, Nanda.
Because moths are attracted to flame.
Yeah. So they're attracted to flames, yes.
Mataji,
Okay.
like the moths are attracted to the flame, right? We are
Yes,
also
yes.
attracted to like a Maya, and we are getting destroyed. Our devotional service.
And if we get attracted by Maya, then are we a devotee anymore? Or are we a demon?
Demon.
Yes, exactly. So this one is to represent demons, right? So in fact, Prabhupada gives a very beautiful analogy where he describes how, if you're a cub in a lion's mouth, right? So you know how lions or cats would sometimes carry their kittens or cubs in their mouth to take them from one place to the other. So he says, is that you think that cub in his mother's mouth is feeling any fear that I'm in a lion's mouth right now? No, right? Then okay, then you put a deer in the lion's mouth as well. The deer should also not feel any fear. But will the deer feel some fear when he's in the lion's mouth? Right? He'll feel a lot of fear for his life. And that is the beautiful analogy Prabhupada gives. That a devotee meeting death is as good as a cub in a lion's mouth. Right? So you're safely being carried by Krishna back to home. Whereas a demon meeting death is as good as a deer in a lion's mouth, where you're like, now to I am dog, now I'm gone. And that is the exact same thing here. So when moths, as Nanda and Samarth rightly said, moths or demons, as they're attracted to fire, they're consciously destroying themselves. Right? Being attracted by Maya, they're consciously destroying themselves. Whereas a river merging into an ocean is a more natural occurrence, representing how the natural occupation for a living entity is to go back to Krishna. Okay, so these are the two analogies that Arjun is using. So at the end of the day, all of us are getting distracted. All the living entities in this material manifestation, the material manifestation itself is temporary. So all of us in this material manifestation are here for a temporary period. So he's saying this form of yours is devouring all of them. Some of them, just like rivers merge into an ocean, some of them are going back to you as a more natural occurrence. Some others, just like moths, get attracted by this fire. So some of these demons who are unnecessarily attracted by Maya or unnecessarily attracted by sense gratification, they are destroying themselves consciously, and then getting devoured by you. So now that Arjun is very, very terrified, he asks in this great fear, he asks these two questions to Krishna. He says to this Virat Roop, he says, who are you and what is your mission? So why do you think Arjun is asking these questions? What's the significance behind these questions? Someone wants to try?
Mataji,
Yes. He knows that this is Krishna, his friend. Why is he saying, who are you?
Mataji,
Yes. Yes, Priyanki? Priyanki, I can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
yeah, sorry. I think it's because Arjuna is in awe. He doesn't understand who Krishna is actually.
Yeah. So, yes, you're right. So, Arjun is so bewildered, so puzzled, so confused, so awestruck by this form that he doesn't recognize this form. He's seeing all of these different forms which are not what he knows Krishna to be. So, he's very confused seeing all of these different forms. If your mama or papa in front of you all of a sudden become some different person and starts doing different things, you'll be like, who are you? What happened to my mother? Who are you? Right? So Arjun is very confused. Who are you? What are all these things I'm seeing? What is this form? Who are you? And like, what is your purpose? What is your mission here? So Arjun is very, very confused. So Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Krishna answers who he is. Can someone read this verse? Very important verse. Yes, Avigna. No, first you start with saying Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Don't forget that.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Kalosmi lokaksya ya krita pravrido lokan samahartum iha pravrata घृत पीत्वं न भविष्यन्ति सर्वे ये वसिता प्रत्यनीकेषु योधा. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds. I have come here to destroy all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both sides will be slain.
So this is a very often quoted verse. Kalosmi loka kshayakrit pravriddho. So kalosmi is a very often quoted phrase. Can someone tell me where was this quoted? Time I am the destroyer of all worlds. Do you all know this? Do you all know this?
Mataji,
Yes, Ashwin.
Mataji, Oppenheimer also like referenced this, right?
Yes. So, even though I think that's a very incorrect reference, so the team that built the first atomic bomb, it was led by Oppenheimer. So he actually said this verse from the Bhagavad Gita, where he said, "Time I am, the destroyer of all worlds," upon creation of the atomic bomb. Quoting the Bhagavad Gita. Yes, Samarth, you can read next. But let me finish this slide first. So this is very often quoted, but this is basically to tell us that Krishna or the Virat Rupa or the Kal Rupa is the ultimate destroyer. Time is the ultimate destroyer. Right? The time people always say, right, this too shall pass. Time heals everything. Why? Because time is the ultimate destroyer for everything. I mean, 100, 200 years from now, none of us are going to be here. That's for sure. No questions about that, right? That's for sure. Because time is the ultimate destroyer. And even Brahmaji, even Brahma, like forget us, like even the creator of the entire universe, right? The father of the entire universe, Brahmaji is also going to be destroyed. We are all temporary. Time is the ultimate destroyer. But yes, the destroying can be different. Are we talking about the destroying of a moth, or are we talking about the destroying of a river? But invariably, we'll all be destroyed. So in this one, Krishna is answering. So what was Arjun's question? Who are you and what is your mission? So he's saying, I am time, the ultimate destroyer. And what is my mission? Is to devour everything, is to destroy all the people. Right? So he's answered both of those questions that Arjuna had. So he's saying, my mission is to destroy everything, all the people except for the Pandavas. This next verse is also very important. Yes, Samart, can you read this?
अस्मात्त्वमुत्तिष्ठयसो लभस्व जित्वा शत्रुन् भुङ्क्ष्व राज्यं समृद्धं मया इवैते निहता पूर्वमेव निमित्तमात्रं भव सव्यसाचिन्. Therefore get up, no, be an instrument in his divine plan. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight.
What is Krishna saying here? Samarth, what is Krishna saying?
Telling that so actually they are already considered dead because Krishna already, by his arrangement, he already made them, died. So he is time. So of course he knows what is going to happen. So he knows that that the Kauravas are going to be killed. And then he told Arjuna, you can just be an instrument for this act.
What does it mean to be an instrument of Krishna?
Mataji, so you see, suppose Krishna, he has to, like, I'll give you an example. For the Yadus,
the Yadus, nobody can kill them. But then they have to go back to Godhead because they were relatives of Krishna and they did so much service for Krishna. So they go back to Godhead, but nobody can kill them and they will never die. So, so he used Gandhari as an instrument. Gandhari, she cursed Krishna saying that all the Yadus will die. So Krishna actually thanked her because because if she never cursed, they would
That
never.
is fine. That is fine. Try to explain to me. Imagine I was 5 years old. So all of you are 10 or plus, right? All of you are above 10 years old or so. Imagine I was 5 years old and I was asking you, what does it mean that Krishna is saying, be my instrument? What does it mean? I know instrument like a harmonium or a mridanga or a kartal. What do you mean Krishna is saying, be my instrument? Yes, Avigna can say.
I think Krishna saying to be an Arjuna to be an instrument in the fight. That means that Krishna saying to Arjuna to just listen to me, follow my instructions, and fight.
And do as I'm saying. Avigya, stop picking your nose.
Mataji, is it that he was?
See, if you all think I'm not seeing, I'm seeing each and every one of you as I'm doing this class. Okay, each and every one of you. So I'm seeing what all of you are doing at any time. So this does not mean that you're busy picking your nose or you're busy beating someone or you're busy doing something else. That will not work. No, I can see all of your faces. Yes, Avigyan, very good. So he's saying that do as per what I am saying, follow my instructions. Very good, Avigna, very good. Yes, Samarth?
Mataji, so he's saying that he should fight, he should fight.
Yes, he's saying you should fight. So in this case, you're right. What he's asking Arjun to do.
He should fight because of the desire of Krishna.
Yes. So here's one way to understand. When you play any instrument, be it a harmonium or even a mridanga, even a kartal, when you're playing any instrument, who is the doer?
Mataji, the person who's playing is the doer.
Yes, and then there's a beautiful sound coming out because of that instrument, right? But you are the doer. So Krishna is saying, please be an instrument in my hands. So I am the doer. Krishna is saying, I am the doer. You be an instrument for the eventual result. So I'm already figuring out what the sound can be, but you will just be an instrument. So see the image on the right hand side. What are you seeing there?
Mataji, a wooden puppet.
A puppet. And who's controlling the puppet?
Krishna.
Yes, and that's what it means to be Krishna's instrument. Where you say that Krishna, I will do exactly as you will. I will just follow your instructions. I will do on your whatever you say, I'll do on your behalf. Whatever I do will be for your pleasure. So I'll just be an instrument at your hands. This is what it means. So in fact, this phrase nimitta matram is very important. Nimitta matram means to be an instrument. So we should all aspire to be, we should all desire to be an instrument at Krishna's hand. For full transparency, for full honesty, even when we do these classes, we always pray to Srila Prabhupada. Say, Prabhupada, whatever we know is because of you, is because of your books. So there's so many times we might have questions, so many times people might ask things that we might not understand. We don't have the intellectual capacity or the knowledge to answer them. Please make us an instrument in your hands so you and your grace can just flow through us. So we are just a medium for yours. So we're just an instrument in your hands to guide the person and to guide the devotee. Understand? So oftentimes when we do kirtan also, everyone who does very good, anyone who's a very good devotee, their mood will always be of humility, but their mood will also be that, if they say a lot of times people are like, oh, I really enjoyed this person's kirtan, or that person sang so well, or their kirtan was so blissful. Any person who's a good kirtan leader will always tell you that, you enjoyed that kirtan or you felt bliss, not because of how I was singing, how we were performing. No. You felt that bliss because of Krishna, because of the holy name. And all that the Kirtaniyas did was to be a channel, was to be a medium, or to be an instrument to let Krishna's grace flow through, so people could enjoy that bliss. Right? So, as devotees, our goal or our target should be to be an instrument at Krishna's hand. Because he is all opulent, he's all powerful, all knowledgeable, everything. He's the reservoir of everything, right? We are so minute that we cannot do anything based on our capability. So we say, Krishna, I am so completely useless. So what I can do at least is how about you just act through me? Everything that I have, even a little bit of talent, whatever capability is because of you. How about you just act through me so I can be of little service to you? Right? That's what it means to be an instrument in Krishna's hands. Okay, so Krishna says, I've already decided what's going to come out of this battle. They've already been put to death, as you can see in my universal form. All I ask is that you be my instrument. You do as per what I am saying, and you get the glory. So that's what Krishna says, and that's why I see Krishna doesn't need our service. Krishna, even Prabhupada or Bhakti Vinod Thakur Maharaj. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur said, right, that there'll be an acharya who comes, who takes the Hare Krishna movement across the entire world. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also said that one of you will go and spread this movement across the foreign land. They could have done it themselves as well, right? Prabhupada could have done so much more service himself as well. They leave it for us, so we at least get to do some service. And as a part of that, Krishna also is glorifying his devotees. Understand? So it's not like Krishna needs our service. No, he can do anything he wants. He just wants us to be glorified because he loves it when his devotees are glorified. So in this case, he's saying, Arjuna, I have already decided what's going to happen here. How about you just play your part as a puppet based on what I'm saying? Because I want you to be glorified because you're my devotee. Understand? So the only path for glory, only path for success in life is to be an instrument in Krishna's hands. And how do we become an instrument in Krishna's hands? By becoming an instrument at the hands of the spiritual master, by following the spiritual master's instructions. Okay? All right. So now that we've talked about the universal form and the destroyer form, the Kala Rupa, Arjun, who's also learned about how this Virat Rupa is the destroyer of everything, he's again full of fear, full of wonder. He's offering these beautiful prayers to Krishna. Can someone read this? Who hasn't read? Priyanki, go ahead.
त्वमादिदेवः पुरुषः पुराणस्त्वमस्य विश्वस्य परमं निधानम् वेदर्षि वेद्यं च परं च धाम त्वव्याततं विश्वमनन्तरूपा. Ultimate shelter. Translation: You are the original personality of Godhead, the oldest, the ultimate sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You are the knower of everything, and you are all that is knowable. You are the supreme refugee above the material modes. O limitless form, the whole cosmic manifestation is narrated by you.
Very good. Very beautifully recited also, Priyanki. Very nice. So easy to understand, right? He's repeating some of the things we've already talked in the previous chapters, establishing the position of Krishna. You're the ultimate sanctuary, ultimate refuge. You're all knowledgeable. You are the ultimate goal for all Vedas. You're the ultimate goal of all knowledge. And you're the supreme refuge. Next one. Can someone read this? Lokesh, can you read this?
Sure. Pitasi lokshya karakshya tvam asya pujas chagurur gariyan na tvat samosti abhyadika kutonyo lokatrayepi apratima pravava. You are the father of this complete cosmic manifestation of the moving and the non-moving. You are its worshipable chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is greater than you, nor can anyone be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within the kingdom, O Lord of immeasurable power?
So he's saying you are the supreme father. In fact, he says you're the great grandfather. What does it mean to be a great grandfather? Why is he calling Krishna the great grandfather? Because we call Brahma the grandfather, right? So he's even Prapitama, even Brahma's father. So your great grandfather. So he's saying you're the father for everything in this manifestation. You're the supreme spiritual master. Why? Because all the knowledge is emanating from Krishna. No one is greater than you, nor can anyone be with you. So he's saying, forget greater than you. People can't even be at the same level as you. And you have immeasurable power. There's a bunch of words he's using to describe Krishna in these verses. He says Aksharam. What does Aksharam mean? Aksharam is not something that is not material or not perishable, like anything in this material manifestation. You're all good. Prapitama, right? So you're Bhishma Pitama, right? Why is Bhishma called Pitamaha? Grandfather, right? So Prapitama is great grandfather. You're the great grandfather. You're Mahatma. So Mahatma means magnanimous and unlimited. Ananta is also unlimited. Devesha, you're the controller of the demigods even. You're the supreme spiritual master. Nidhanam, you're the ultimate refuge. You're the essence of everything. You're the supreme controller. So he's using these beautiful words to describe the Virat Rupa, to glorify the Virat Rupa. Right? So all of this he's saying in a mood of wonder. So now, what happened? So put yourself in Arjuna's shoes. You're dealing with someone who's a very close friend of yours. Krishna and Arjuna are very good friends. You're dealing with someone who's a very close friend of yours. And this person now says, okay, now let me show you what I do. But you don't know what this person does. So now this person says, okay, now let me show you what I do for a living. Right? And then he goes and says that, see, I'm actually running the entire country of Singapore. And all of these ministers and important people and all of them are coming to me and, they're bowing down and I'm the most powerful person. So all of a sudden you'll be like, wait a minute. Like your mood will change, right? It'll go from that place of friendliness, feeling like you're on the same platform to, oh my God, like I had no idea that you were so powerful, or I had no idea that this is the position that you had. So all of these fear, all of these prayers, Arjun is saying in the mood of wonder or in the mood of fear. So now what Arjun says is this. Can someone read this?
Mataji, can I?
Sanvi, you read already once, right? Yes, Prachikta can. Sanvi already read once.
41 to 42. Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, not knowing your glory. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses. 44. You are the supreme Lord, to be worshipped by every living being. Thus, I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask your mercy. As a father tolerates the impudence of his son, a friend the impertinence of the friend, or a husband the familiarity of his wife, please tolerate the wrongs I may have done you.
Why is Arjun asking for forgiveness? Krishna and Arjuna are such good friends. So why is Arjun saying, oh, I'm sorry for all the things I might have done in the past?
Because Mataji Arjuna acted too much friendly with me.
Yeah, so what's wrong with acting too much friendly? What's wrong with that?
Because Mataji, before Arjuna didn't know that Krishna was so much like, he was so the supreme personality and all.
Yeah, or he did not, like, he was so focused on Krishna as his friend. The mood was such a friendly mood that he did not focus on, oh, you are so opulent and you're so powerful and, you are like this universal form of yours. It's so ghastly, it's so fearful. He never focused on that because he was so focused on just knowing Krishna as his dear friend. Right? The relationship was so different. So now he's saying, oh, actually, I didn't know that you were, I didn't know that you were just this was your position. And I'm so sorry that if I took you lightly, I'm so sorry that, if I did not give you the respect or the position that, I should have given to you. That's what Arjun is saying. Right? Similar to how, like, if you have a very close friend where you're like, sometimes we take people who are close to us lightly. And it's okay. It's okay. Na? Even if I'm a little rude, it's okay. Good friend of mine. And then tomorrow you're like, oh, but this person is very, very powerful. And everyone's like, oh, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Everyone, even people I am scared of, are going to this person and saying, yes, sir, yes, sir. Then you'll be like, sorry, sorry that day I took you lightly. I did not intend to. That's what Arjun is saying, that I had no idea that I knew you were the Supreme. I did not know you had so much power. So I'm very sorry for all the things that I did. I did not realize it. I did not intend it. I'm sorry now. Just like sometimes, when the father is sleeping, the little kid will come and then draw things on the father's face and stuff. The father does not take anger at them. He doesn't get up and say, ki, oh, how could you? You do not know how old I am. Do you not know my position? How could you just draw things on my face? The father forgives the child, right? Impertinence means rudeness or not showing the deserved respect. So Arjun is asking for tolerance, similar to how sometimes a child might show that rudeness to a father. So the father forgives the child, right? Why does the father forgive the child? He doesn't get up and say, "How dare you draw on my face when I was sleeping? Do you not know how old I am? I made you. I'm your controller. How could you do this to me?" Why does the father forgive the child? Why does the father forgive the child in this case? He likes the drawings on his face. That's why, right? Then, Prachikta?
And no, Mataji, because he knows that the child is small and he's like innocent and all. They
Yeah, he
don't
says
know what's wrong in
yeah,
them.
exactly. You did it out of love. It's okay. Small childish behavior, it's okay. That's what Krishna is saying. It's okay. Childish behavior, I ignore. It's okay. I know you did it out of love because, our relationship is like that. It's okay. So he's saying, similar to how a father forgives a child, you also please forgive me because I really did not internalize. I did not focus so much on your supreme position. So I'm sorry that I dealt with you in such a friendly way. That's what he's saying. In fact, it's very beautiful because if you look at all the dealings that Krishna has with the cowherd boys in Vrindavan, right? So that's like so different from this relationship of wonder. There they are standing on Krishna's head, they're calling him all sorts of names. They're saying, Krishna, you're a cheat. No, we're not going to play with you, right? So that is the relationship Krishna also wants. Right? So imagine if you're in a very powerful position, you always want to, even the most powerful people, they always want to have people who they can be open with, who can just be themselves with, right? Where it's not about power, it's not about everyone saying yes sir, yes sir. It's about people who you can just be friends with. So even Krishna, even he rejoices those relationships with his devotees, which are outside of this knowledge of, oh, you are the supreme personality. No, he loves when Mother Yashoda binds him. He loves when Madhu Mangal or the other cowherd boys play with him like small boys. Right? Even Krishna rejoices in that. So that's how Arjun and Krishna's relationship was. This was a friendly relationship. So Arjun is saying, sorry, now that I understand how powerful you are, I'm sorry for all the small things the friendly things that I did now back when I did not know this. I'm very sorry. So that's what Arjun's mood is. And and then he says, okay, now I'm now very, very terrified of this form. So now you go back to normal Krishna form. Now I've seen enough. Now you go back to normal Krishna form. So he says, so Arjun requests, in the 45th verse, Arjun requests to withdraw the fearsome form and reveal the original form as personality of Godhead. And then he says, actually, you can show me your four-armed form of Narayan or Vishnu. So this is a very important section because it establishes that Krishna is the source of all of these forms. So it's not like there was Vishnu form and then Krishna is a part of that or Krishna came from that. No. Krishna is the source of all forms, be it the universal form, which is temporary, or be it the Vishnu Rupa. Krishna is the supreme form, personality of Godhead. He is the source of all of these forms. So that is what Prabhupada stresses again and again about this chapter, that this chapter is very importantly establishing that Krishna, his Shyamasundar form, is the supreme personality of Godhead and is the most essential form. Okay, anyone, any questions at this point? All right. So with this, we move on to the next section, which is what is the qualification? So now Arjun has said, now Krishna actually just show me your original form or you show me your four-armed form. So can someone tell me what is the most confidential form of Krishna? The most confidential. Confidential, you all understand it, the most secret form of Krishna.
Mataji, Krishna's two-hat form?
Yes, exactly. That is the most confidential form of Krishna. Just because we talk about it so much and we see it in images so much does not mean it is the most publicly available form. No. In this chapter, Krishna explicitly states that it is very, very difficult to see my universal form. It is even more difficult to see my two-armed Sham Sundar form. So, what do you think is the qualification to see Krishna's two-armed form?
To be a pure devotee.
Yes. What is the word that we've learned for pure devotees in the past few chapters? Huh? Very good. Very good, Ananya Bhakti. What does Ananya Bhakti mean?
Unallied devotion.
Yes, the qualification to see Krishna's two-armed form is Ananya Bhakti, right? Which is 24 karat gold. So no milawat, no mixture, no nothing, only bhakti. One point of devotion towards Krishna. That is a qualification to see Krishna's two-armed form. Okay, can someone read this for me? Who wants to read?
Can Avigna read?
Can. Priyangi also read already, right? Lokesh also read already. Okay, Avigna can read.
47 to 48. Where Krishna's universal form. Only devotees can have this vision, while they do not want to see the universal form. Why?
Why? Let's wait. Why? Why do devotees not want to see the universal form?
Right. Let
Because
this vision,
I don't want
let
to be
this,
scared. That's why.
let this
Yes.
vision be over, Krishna says. 50. Krishna shows transcendental four-armed form, then two-armed form. Soumya Vapu.
Soumya Vapu.
Arjuna's mind is pacified and restored on seeing Krishna's two-handed form. Manusam form. Most confidential.
Yes. So, a few important things here. First, let's discuss this. Only devotees can have the vision of the universal form. Excuse me. But they don't have no intention of wanting to see the universal form. Why is that? Why is that? Why do devotees have no interest in seeing the universal?
Mataji, because it is so difficult to understand.
Is that why? Like Krishna, I don't want to understand hard things. It's so difficult to understand your universal form, so not interested. Sorry.
Mataji, is that like
Yes.
Mataji is because is it like because Krishna, like those pure devotees, they don't want they don't want to accept Lord Krishna as the supreme. They want to just give him love.
Okay. What else? Yes, Priyangi?
Because they don't want to deal with Krishna in a formal way. They just want to deal with Krishna like in a friendly manner and like just enjoy with him in Golo.
Yeah, very beautiful, very nicely explained. Actually, both of you are correct. They do know that Krishna is the supreme at all times. Obviously, they do know, but it's a different feeling when. So the devotees just want to reciprocate feelings in a loving relationship. They want to have a relationship with Krishna, and that's what devotees are, right? They have a relationship with Krishna. But when someone is so powerful, like devouring everything, is just at a different level altogether, you cannot have that loving relationship. It'll only be a relationship of wonder or fear. It will not be a relationship of a friend or the relationship of a son, right? So the devotees just want to have that, as you said, they don't want to have to deal with so much formality. They just want to have a friendly relationship or loving relationship with Krishna, which is not possible when you're dealing with a form that is so virat, that is so huge, that is difficult to conceive or understand. That is why devotees are not interested. Krishna shows the transcendental four-armed form and then the two-armed form. The two-armed form is also known as the Saumya Vapuhu. Vapuhu means? What does Vapuhu mean?
Body.
Body, yeah. So what does Saumya mean? Very beautiful. So Saumya Vapuhu means very beautiful body, a very beautiful form, right? So the Shama Sundar form, Krishna is always young. It's forever beautiful form. Arjuna's mind is pacified and restored on seeing Krishna's two-handed form, the Manusham Rupam. So in the verse, these words are used, the Manusham Rupam, which means the form like that of a human, right? To show that actually Krishna is a person. And the way we see his paintings, we see him images like a person is not a fragment of our imagination to think that he looks like us. No. Based on the scriptures, he is a person, right? Who looks a little bit like us, but obviously the quality might be similar, but the quantity is very, very different. We're just a drop and he's the ocean, right? But he is the Manusham Rupam means that he's also a person, a human-like form. And again, as we said, this is the most confidential form. So it is a little quiz for you all. So in this case, we learned that Krishna shows his four-armed form, Narayan, and then shows the two-armed form, Krishna. right? Which is some other instance where Krishna first shows his four-armed form and then the two-armed form.
Mataji, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
That's not the perfect example because anytime you show the four-armed form, you'll always come back to a two-armed form, right? So what is some? Give me some other example. In case of Krishna Leela, give me some example.
Mataji,
Yes, Priyanke.
is it in the prison of Devaki and Vasudev?
Very good. Very, very good. Yes. How does he first appear?
He appears in a four-hand form.
Yes.
Then he goes back to the two-hand form
Yes, exactly.
as
Very
a
good answer.
baby.
Yes. So in the prison, in Kamsa's prison. So he first appears as Narayan with Shankh, Chakra, Gada, Padma, and then he becomes a baby Krishna, right? The two-armed form. Yes. Okay, so we are now at the last three verses of this chapter. So we're doing well on time, and these are very important verses because he's talking more and more about how is it that you can see Krishna's Shyamasundar form. Can someone read this? Yes, Avigyan. Avigyan, then next one, Priyangi. I've got three verses. Priyangi, you read the next one. Yes, Avigyan.
Glorifying bhakti by meditation. Translation. The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am.
Yes, easy to understand. Well, then how can I see you as you are, if not by all these things? How? If I cannot see Krishna by studying the Vedas, by doing penances, by doing charity, or by going to the temples, then how can I see Krishna as he is?
Mataji, by showing love to him.
By doing bhakti. And see, this is why I keep saying the Ananya Bhakti word is very important. Because Krishna used it again in this verse. Priyangi, can you read this? Priyangi is not here, is it?
No, I'm here.
Oh, here, yes.
Bhaktya ananyaya sakya amevam vidho rujna ज्ञानातुं द्रष्टुं च तत्त्वेन प्रवेष्टुं च परन्तपः. Glorifying bhakti directly. Translation. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding.
Hari Bol. And what is undivided devotional service?
Ananya Bhakti.
Very good. Yes. So see, this phrase is so important. Again, he's using here. Bhaktya tvananyaya shakya. Only by unalloyed devotional service can you understand me and can you see me. And then, what does it mean actually? It means that we have to take personal training under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master to do devotional service so we can understand Krishna and see him. Okay, so in fact, we cannot approach Krishna directly. Or Krishna says, if you do devotional service unto me, you can understand me and you can see me. So I'll just do whatever I want to do to show my love to Krishna. No. Even bhakti has to be done under the guidance of a spiritual master. Right? So to do this, we have to take guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. And in our case, that's Srila Prabhupada. Right? Now, the last verse, which is a very, 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 very important verse. And in fact, this verse is considered to be the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And it's similar to 934, some of the other verses that we've studied. Can someone please read this?
Mataji, can Avigna read it?
Avigna already read just now, nahi?
Mataji, can I?
Okay, Sanvi, go ahead.
मत कर्म कर्मो मद्भक्त सुखिमच्युत निर्भय सर्वभूतेषु व्यसमामिति Pandava. Characteristics of Ananya Bhakti. Dear Arjuna, who engages in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of fruitive activities and mental speculation, he works for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me.
Hari bol. Right? So again, let's go phrase by phrase. Mat karma krin means work for me. Mat paramo, making me the supreme goal of your life, making me the ultimate refuge, the ultimate shelter. Mad bhaktaha, engage in my pure devotional service. Sanghavarjitaha. Sanghavarjitaha means two things. Sanghavarjitaha, obviously it means that, when we say Ananya Bhakti or pure devotional service, that you don't have any karma, any fruitive activities there or any speculation activities. So no, it's pure bhakti, no karma and gyan mishran, no karma and gyan mixed in there. But it also means, Sanghavarjita also means, remember, nectar of instruction we've studied, the 6 qualities which are good for devotional service, right? So one of them is also asanga tyaga, right? Which means giving up the association of materialistically minded people, or by negation, associating with people who are Krishna's devotees, right? Nirvairaha sarva bhuteshu. Nirvairaha sarva bhuteshu means one who's friendly and kind and loving to every living entity. So you cannot be like, oh, I love Krishna, but I hate everyone else. Don't care about everyone else, but I love Krishna. No. Krishna says no. I am the Supreme Father. Everyone's my children. So by definition, you have to be kind to my children, right? If you love me, you also have to be kind to your siblings. So one who is kind to a living entity. And in fact, people who make hospitals, give charity, philanthropists, they are not as kind. Why? Because they're only serving the body, which is temporary, right? But someone who's actually serving the soul, making sure the soul goes back to Krishna, is actually the right philanthropist. Just like Prabhupada says, right? If someone is drowning in the river and you go and you save his clothes, are you saving that person? No. If you just save the clothes, the person drowned already. So he's saying doing anything for the body is like saving the clothes of someone who's drowning in a river. Not helpful, right? You cannot be like, oh, but I saved the clothes now, all works already. The body is as good as the clothes, remember? We studied in the 2nd chapter. So he's saying, don't try to save the clothes, try to save the person. So just like don't try to save the body, try to save the soul. So one who is a devotee of the Lord, who's a preacher, who's trying to spread Krishna consciousness, is the friendliest to all living entities because he's always looking out for their ultimate good. And Krishna says, whoever does this will certainly come to me. Okay, so very, very important verse. In fact, Prabhupada also writes in the purport how one of the best examples of Nirvairaha Sarva Bhuteshu is Jesus Christ. Right? Where people who he's trying to give this love, give this knowledge of the Supreme Lord is, they are the same people who are, because of whom he's being killed, right? He's being crucified because of those same people. And even as he's being crucified, he's saying it's okay, forgive them because they don't know what they're doing. Right? So that is the epitome of kindness, the epitome of forgiveness. Why? Because he understands that at the end of the day, this body is temporary. And all of us, even if we are doing all these dushkarma or all these actions in this material world out of resentment or jealousy or out of anger, it's because we've forgotten our eternal relationship with Krishna. It's out of ignorance, not out of misintent. It's out of ignorance. Okay, so very, very important verse. And if possible, please, please, please learn this verse. So with this, we conclude chapter 11. And there's 2 main takeaways from this chapter. The first one is that the two-handed form of Krishna is supreme. Right? So Krishna exhibits a temporary universal form, also the Kala Rupa or the form of time. And then he then shows the Vishnu form, the 4-handed form, also emanating from Krishna, and then goes back to his 2-armed form. So Krishna is the origin of all incarnations and forms. And then the second main takeaway is that Krishna's form, especially his Shyamasundar form, can only be understood and seen and served by his unalloyed devotees. Okay? And with that, we finish our 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So we finished well on time today. So we have some time for you all to ask questions. Any questions? This chapter is actually quite easy. There's 55 verses, but it's very easy to understand. Because there's no new concepts. All the things we studied, all of you have already studied in the last few chapters. Any questions? Anything you want to add, Mataji?
Not really, Mataji. Very beautiful. Although many verses, the concept is pretty much is very clear and crisp. And one thing I just wanted to tell all the kids, please do revise. The reason I'm telling is after all the 18 chapters we finish, we're going to have test and quiz both. Okay, we will do a revision of all 18 chapters, but it will be very, very high level, just the main things that we're going to cover, because it's not easy to cover all 18 chapters in a one class, right? But we will cover it. But what I'm saying is, instead of keeping all the studies towards the end, which we usually do for the metal exams, right? The day before, whole day, night, we'll be reading, and the next day just go and vomit everything in the paper. Rather, you just try to read in a little portions and then try to connect everything. When you read only, you will be able to ask questions. You will know what to ask questions. Right now, you're just trying to understand what we are telling, which is good. We are regularly attending the classes good. But when you read, Mataji told like this, but here it is, I'm confused. Why it is the difference is there? You can ask questions. So please try to read and ask questions. And after finishing of the 18th chapter, we'll go through one full revision. Then 1 week of gap I will give you for you to read all, revise all. The following week will be quiz and test will be there. The test is, we'll try to see how we can do it. We are already having some idea. We'll try to do that. And it's very important to score 100%. So
it's 100 or 0. It's either 100% or 0. That's it.
See, one time when I was in 8th class, one of our biology teacher left the school and went to some other place to work. So he was very good teacher, and we all were crying when he leave. And then after he went, I wrote a letter to him. This is a very inland cover. We used to have one a letter, and wrote a letter to him, like, I will definitely study well, this and that, and I make sure I get a 80% mark every time. So he replied saying that don't aim for 80%, always aim for 100%. So that's thing, right? You have to aim only for 100%. Something is not working out well, it's okay, but aim for 100%. This always I tell to Nanda and Vishal. I've told many times. I know this. And Vishal will say, Amma, you have told me this many times. So I get a chance to tell you all, please go through that. Don't miss any point in the Bhagavad Gita, and we'll come back. Yes, Sanvi, I don't think you have raised a question now. It was previous one. Nanda, you have raised a question.
Why they should have Prabhupada not emphasize on chapter 11? Like, there's no lecture on the whole chapter at all. Like, no, and also many purpose is not emphasized.
Are you saying in different lectures, why did Prabhupada not quote as much chapter 11?
And also, there's no lecture of chapter 11 at all. Like, not even one.
Yeah. Actually, if you look at it, Nanda, and that's what I was saying. There's a lot of verses here, but if you also look at it, right, the same reason that we said, the devotees are not as interested in Krishna's universal form. The devotees are more interested in Krishna's Sham Sundar form. They're more interested in bhakti. That's why you'll see so many purports, you'll see so many lectures that are quoting chapter 9, even chapter 10. And chapter 11, and if you even look at the reason chapter 11 exists, right? The reason chapter 11 exists is to establish Krishna's position as the supreme. If anything, to refute, both of these takeaways actually are to refute impersonalists, right? Or people who say that Krishna does not have a personal form, or to refute impersonalists, or people who position themselves as God themselves, as like God, right? So if you look at the purpose of existence of this chapter in Bhagavad Gita, the reason Arjuna is even asking these questions is to make sure that in the future we are strongly establishing Krishna's position, so there's no random pseudo people positioning themselves as God. And second, to establish a very clear point against impersonalists, how Krishna is the supreme person. And that is the reason why, if you look at the lectures that Prabhupada has given to a lot of devotees, or as he's trying to teach to make sure he's giving and summarizing the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, a lot of those teachings happen in chapter 9 and even later on, in chapter 14, 16, 18, etc. That's why chapter 11, it's an important chapter, but especially as devotees, if you think about it, it's not got a lot of practical takeaways for us except for the last verse. Right? Because it's a lot about Krishna, Arjun describing the universal form, what he's saying, establishing Krishna's position, offering prayers. The prayers are important, similar to, and we should learn these prayers, similar to Bhagavatam prayers also. But the main practical takeaway of this chapter is the last verse, because it's a repetition of a lot of the things that have happened before.
Yes, 11.55 is he has quoted in few places and during his lectures. So the other verses or other lectures, he has quoted that, but not this whole chapter as such. But good observation, Nanda. Anyone else? Just have to go and read to ask questions, right? So next week we can expect you all ask questions.
But very good. I hope you all take the time to realize you're now done with 11 out of 18 chapters. So I'm sure before we all started, Bhagavad Gita seemed like this insurmountable text that such a thick book, Mataji, will never be able to get through it. How will we understand? And now you're done with like more than half the book, actually, like significant portions of the book. And like close to like, see, if you look at thickness, close to like 2/3 of the book, which is not bad.
And next week, the chapter is 12, which I think one or two or a couple of you have already gone through. We have done the whole chapter 12 in the past 2-3 years ago, and in the same online class. But I think that time it's very primitive stage. We don't have the slides, so we don't have the notes to go through that. So we'll go through that now with the notes and slides. It will be definitely very nice. And few of you know by heart. I think Samar, Nanda, Chetana, Jyotika, you all have learned chapter 12 by heart. It's a good revision for you. Now you might have forgotten, but it's a good revision for you.
This 20 pages, such a short chapter also.
Yes. Go and revise all the verses, memorize again. Okay. I think we are done. Thank you so much to you all, and we'll see you next week again with chapter 12. And until then, please have a chant regularly and read Prabhupada book, especially Bhagavad Gita. At this point, until we finish chapter 18, go through and read, revise everything. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And then with Pranam. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.